You know, after a roller coaster week in WWE that involved all the events at WrestleMania with the streak ending and Daniel Bryan finally overcoming the Authority and what happened on Raw and all the surprises we had there, and then the untimely, unfortunate passing of the Ultimate Warrior, I was glad to get to some kind of normality and watch around about an hour or so of NXT because it's been such an emotional roller coaster over this last week. I was just glad when I could sit there and watch NXT and get back to some kind of normality. Kind of like when you've been on holiday and you've really enjoyed your holiday, but you just enjoy sleeping in your own bed. You just enjoy watching TV in your own house. That's how NXT felt to me this week. It's like I was back at home. If you have any comments on this show, please put them in the comment section below. With WrestleMania being this week, I would just like to tell you a personal story that has something to do with NXT and WrestleMania and what happened there. You know, the whole reason why I started watching WWE's developmental territory in 2011, back then it was FCW, was because I wanted to see the debut of Antonio Cesaro, Claudio Castagnoli, to see how they were going to present him on FCW. And I continued watching that ever since. So it's because I wanted to tune in and watch Cesaro's debut as well as William Regal versus Dean Ambrose on the show. It's for that reason why, to this day, I am still watching NXT. I am still watching WWE's developmental territory. And that's why that I really marked out for the time when Antonio Cesaro picked up Big Show, very Hulk Hogan-esque at WrestleMania 3 against Andre the Giant, brother, and body slammed him out of the ring. This is why that moment for Antonio Cesaro was such a big mark-out moment for me. That is why I legitimately got out of my chair and almost kissed the TV screen. You can ask NJ. It's kind of like how the Schleg Daddy kind of reacts to Undertaker. That's kind of how I felt with Antonio Cesaro and his WrestleMania moment. If it wasn't for him coming to the WWE, you wouldn't be getting this review. And that's the God's honest truth. It was the biggest mark-out moment for me at WrestleMania. I can't express how much joy there was in my heart when I saw Antonio Cesaro body slam Big Show to win the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. So on the post-WrestleMania Raw, we got to see a fair amount of NXT talents making their debuts in some way or form on WWE's flagship TV show, and one of them was Alexander Rusev. Now, I've already gone through a lot of my opinions and analysis through our NXT reviews and SmackDown reviews, etc., and I'm not going to rehash any of them here. The one question I want to ask you guys, though, is, do you think Alexander Rusev, after his impressive debut beating Zack Ryder on Raw, can be some kind of star for the WWE? Or do you feel he'll be another edition of Vladimir Kozlov or Lord Tensai? Answer below. To open up the show this week, we had the Adam Rose Experience, and he was going up against... you know what? It doesn't fucking matter who he was going up against, because it's Adam motherfucking Rose wrestling in the middle of that damn ring. It doesn't matter who he faces. All that matters is that we see Adam Rose, the gimmick, we see the entrance, we hear the music, we see his entourage. That's all that matters about the Adam Rose gimmick. And it's very easy to see why Vince McMahon, Triple H, or whoever's running the ship now down at WWE has decided to bring this guy in with video packages to the WWE roster, even though he's only been on the NXT roster, the gimmick, for a few weeks now. It's very easy to see why he's been brought up to the main roster, because it's, number one, a very unique character. Number two, you know, it's a whole lot of fun. Thirdly, there's a whole lot of merchandising you can do with this. And number four, who doesn't want to party with Adam Rose after that damn video package we just saw on the Raw, where it's like, this is my current ex-girlfriend, this will be my ex-girlfriend. What guy doesn't want to party like this guy? You know, this is like one of those real larger-than-life characters, you know, that a lot of people will really enjoy. And, you know, during this Adam Rose match, you know, it really did seem like a post-WrestleMania crowd with people singing along to his theme tune during the match, much like they did John Cena's very mockingly, and a lot of other people's like Fandangos during, you know, WrestleMania Raw, etc. So we got Divas action on this week's edition of NXT. It was Bayley versus Sasha Banks, who came out with I guess the #1 contender to Paige's NXT Women's Championship, and that was none other than Charlotte, of course, Ric Flair's daughter. Couple of things I want to note before I get into this match. You know, did anyone else see Sasha Banks as one of Triple H's entrance girls at WrestleMania? I guess I may have been the only one that noticed, but I definitely saw someone that looked a little bit like Sasha Banks. I did indeed. As for the match itself, I thought it was pretty solid Divas action, as it usually is on NXT, which is one of the reasons why the NXT Divas division is really good in my opinion. Bayley gets another win here, which I'm very glad. I'm glad she's going on a bit of a winning streak, because one of the reasons is now that Emma, Summer Rae, and Paige are seemingly going to be on the main roster a lot more and are going to be getting involved with Raw and SmackDown a lot more after events that transpired at WrestleMania and post-WrestleMania. NXT are now in a position where they're going to be able to fill some big shoes, you know, especially on the Divas babyface side. I mean, you've got Emma and Paige, who are by far the top 2 Divas babyfaces on NXT. Now, they're going to be on the WWE roster a lot more. You're going to need to bring up some characters in NXT that can take that spot. And one of them, in my opinion, is definitely Bayley. Now, I believe Charlotte is being built up to be put in Summer Rae's top heel spot. And that's a good thing, in my opinion. She should be the next one to take the NXT Women's Championship away from Paige and be the top heel, I believe. Now, like I said, Bayley is an incredibly over character. She's developing as a character. I think she is now that Emma and Paige have kind of gone from NXT, maybe in the next couple of weeks or month or so. She will be the top babyface. So I think that, you know, considering that they need to build up some more babyfaces, she is the perfect character, in my opinion, to put in that top babyface spot, unless they find another diva and build her up a little bit quicker. But the thing is with Bayley is, how can you hate Bayley? You know, even I want to hug Bayley. And I'm not really a very huggy person, but even I want to hug Bayley. That's how likable the character is. You know, I didn't really get to give my proper thoughts on Paige winning the Divas Championship on the post-WrestleMania Raw in the British First Raw review. So I'm going to give some more sort of, you know, personal thoughts and some more analytical thoughts in this NXT review. The first thing I want to say is, as soon as I saw Paige on NXT, debut on NXT, I thought she was incredibly talented. I thought it was a shame that on the first ever edition of the new NXT, she did a job to Raquel Diaz. I thought that was a real shame. But ever since I've seen Paige on FCW and then develop on NXT, I've seen so much talent. And it's not just because she's from Norwich, England, which is kind of near me. It's not just because she's British. It's because I've just seen Paige and I've just seen the talent there as an in-ring performer. Yes, she could do a little bit of work on her promo, maybe a little bit of more work on her gimmick, but there's no doubt that this girl is incredibly talented, and she's doing the NXT Women's Division and now the WWE Divas Division very proud, in my opinion. And for a 21-year-old Brit to go on to the post-WrestleMania Raw, which is a big motherfucking deal for the WWE, and go out there and win the Divas Championship, that is a moment in itself. Especially for an NXT viewer like me who has seen her develop, you know, over time, ever since she debuted in NXT and FCW too. So I was incredibly happy when I saw that Paige had won the Divas Championship. At first I was a little bit, why are they presenting the Paige character like this? She's a bit of an ass kicker, she's an anti-diva, why is she congratulating AJ Lee? But then as the segment went on and the crowd kind of realised what was going to happen, and I kind of realised what was going to happen, I just felt elated when Paige got that moment and won that Divas Championship. And even though I was a little bit disappointed with the way they presented her character, I can't complain about the way she was booked at all. I mean, she was booked on her debut in WWE on the post-WrestleMania Raw, one of the more famous Raws, probably the biggest famous Raw, apart from maybe Raw 1000, they have every damn year. And she went out there and defeated the longest reigning Divas champion in AJ Lee, 292 days, in her debut match on Raw. You can't book a diva stronger than that coming in. And, you know, with the fact that AJ Lee had won, beat pretty much everyone on the roster, and there was no one really on her pedestal, the only person who really could have come in and beat AJ Lee, in my opinion, was Paige. You know, maybe they could have given it to Naomi or maybe one of the Bellas and do some Total Diva stuff, but I can't tell you how glad I am as a, you know, personally, as a fan of Paige and as a fan of NXT. I can't tell you how happy I am to see that an NXT talent like Paige is now the Divas champion. That fills me with joy. And it's hopefully going to make me talk about Divas segments for the first time in what seems like damn months. So thank you very much for doing that for me, Paige. You've done Britain proud, and you've done women proud. So we had Mojo Rawley versus NXT's French resident jobber Sylvester Lafort. And how long did that match last? About 30 seconds or so? But even though the match lasted 30 seconds, it was 30 seconds that the crowd were damn into Mojo Rawley. You know, like I said, it kind of felt like a post-WrestleMania crowd here at NXT. The crowd were very into Mojo Rawley on this show, a former NFL guy. Speaking of NFL guys, apparently WWE have just signed Shawn Merriman, and he was on I believe, the pre-show panel or something. I don't know too much about him, so if you can tell me anything about this guy, please let me know down in the comment section below. But, this segment wasn't really about the match. You've got Mojo Rawley out there, and then all of a sudden you have Sylvester Lefort slaying in the ring, and Brodus Clay just comes out and kills him with a powerbomb because he fucking can. Because he's fucking Brodus Clay. Because he's 350 or whatever pounds of not Funkasaurus anymore. And then he gets on the mic and complains how he never got his shot, and he's basically being a moany bitch, calls out Adrian Neville, and I was thinking, WWE NXT, you've done this really well. You've introduced Brodus Clay back into NXT. You're booking him strongly. And then they have to do this typical chicken shit heel, back out of the ring bullshit to make the heel look fucking weak. This is what I do not like about the way they book their heels. You've got Brodus Clay, who's about twice as big as Adrian Neville, the champion, when he comes out there and they have the face-off. And you have Brodus Clay walk out of the ring. Why not have Brodus Clay just flatten Adrian Neville? Why not try and put some damn heat on the heels? Yes, I know Brodus Clay probably won't beat Adrian Neville, but you've got Brodus Clay, who's a legit big guy, going up against Adrian Neville. You want to make Adrian Neville look like the underdog? Have fucking Brodus Clay kick his damn ass so we can overcome an obstacle. Now it looks like Brodus Clay's just a scared bitch. That's exactly how Brodus Clay looked to me, and I fucking hated the way they booked this segment. So Vince Russo, WWE typical fucking booking-esque, and I really wish they wouldn't do this in NXT. God, that pisses me off, that really does. One thing I really wanted to see here, though, I must admit, the Adrian Neville Brodus Clay face-off was pretty cool. I was all down for that and everything. But was I the only one that really wanted to see Brodus Clay face-off with Mojo Rawley? Maybe I was the only one, I don't know. But as this went on, I was thinking, man, I really wish Brodus Clay would have faced off with Mojo Rawley, so you could have won that NFL linebacker battle or whatever the fuck he is. Let's have some decorum here on this NXT review. I've got some good news for you guys out there who like NXT. Oliver Gray, the Brit, is back in NXT. But I've also got some bad news, and that is he will have a match with Camacho next week on NXT. Let's have some decorum here. I must admit, I thought it was pretty cool that we got to see what the NXT guys did at WrestleMania Access this year. I think stuff like this is showing how big NXT is getting and how big a part of WWE and the WWE Network that NXT is right now. So it's really nice to see, all the people that they met and all the things that they did. And plus, in my opinion, it's very useful to the NXT stars because they kind of get to see what it feels like to be a WWE superstar. Meeting with fans, signing autographs, applying their persona, to fans, etc. at the biggest event of the year. So I think this is really good for the NXT guys in the sense that they can actually feel like a WWE superstar and not just, do the in-ring work and stuff, but see exactly how the wrestlers handle themselves outside the ring with interviews and stuff like that. So I thought it was really cool that NXT actually showed us what happened at Access this year with regards to the NXT guys. And I believe they did it last year as well. And I commented the same thing last year too, I believe. Looks like I found my piss break for next week's edition of NXT. The Great Khali is going to be facing CJ Parker. I give no shits about this. So on the main event of this show, we had this whole thing about Bo Dallas' special announcement. And to be honest with you, I thought it would be something to do with the fact that one of his video packages aired on Raw and he's going to be going into the WWE roster or something soon. And, he's done everything to be done in NXT and is going out on a high. That's kind of what I thought this was going to be all about. But boy, was I in for a surprisingly hilarious twist when I saw what this segment was all about. When they pretty much mocked the Occupy Raw segment and had Bo Dallas try to do an Occupy NXT segment and get all his Bo Levers to come in the ring with him and occupy NXT until he gets an NXT championship shot again. Boy, I thought this was hilarious, and I thought it was also funny that the fans all turned their back on him and started chanting, "Wave good." This is what I mean about post-WrestleMania Raw crowds. This segment was really hilarious in my opinion. And what was even better is the fact that you had JBL come out and say that he doesn't have enough people to occupy a seesaw. I thought this was damn hilarious. And then that leads to Justin Gabriel coming back and facing Bo Dallas. And, you know, first of all I had in my mind was, how long has it been since you've seen fucking Justin Gabriel? Where the fuck has he been for this last year? You know, when he said it was someone from South Africa, I was thinking, are they bringing back Leo Kruger or something? Totally forgot about Justin Gabriel. And to be honest with you, I was a little bit surprised here that Bo Dallas got the victory, considering Justin Gabriel has only just returned and you may want to establish him as some kind of guy on NXT, especially also considering that it seems like he's being brought onto the WWE roster right now. So I must admit, I was very surprised that Bo Dallas got the win here. You know, I wasn't overly bothered that he got the win because he is one of the top stars on NXT right now, in the sense being the NXT champion for quite some time. But yeah, solid main event match here. I thought the segment before it was pretty hilarious, so I've got to give the thumbs up on this main event segment. And as for Bo Dallas coming to Raw or to SmackDown or to WWE in general, all I can say is don't stop believing. You know, overall I thought this was just a really fun show. You had a lot of characters on there that I really enjoy, such as, you know, Adam Rose and Mojo Rawley and people like that. It's been a very good week for NXT. You know, we've had, you know, people such as Antonio Cesaro getting spotlighted at WrestleMania. We've had people like Rusev, Paige, you know, being introduced to the WWE Universe on a more, you know, worldwide scale on their flagship show, Raw. Adam Rose and Bo Dallas are going to be coming up to the WWE roster soon. So I'm very, very interested, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what WWE have lined up for these NXT guys and to see exactly how these guys are going to figure into WWE's plans going forward. It's been a really good week for me as an NXT fan. It's that time of year where they always start to introduce new characters, but I didn't expect to see Paige win the Divas Championship. I did not expect to see Antonio Cesaro win the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. You know, I sure as fuck didn't expect Adam Rose to be coming to the WWE Raw and SmackDown show at any point soon. But goddamn, I'm happy. And this is why I love being an NXT fan. It's when you see these characters, you know, go from NXT and you kind of have to let them go. Like you let go an 18-year-old son or a daughter who is moving away from the house. You just kind of have to let them go and flourish for themselves. And even though you're a little bit disappointed that they probably won't be on NXT for a while, you know that they're going to flourish out there in the real world, which in this case is Raw and SmackDown. And I sure as hell hope the NXT guys that have been highlighted lately can do that. And I have full hope that people like Paige, Rusev, and also Adam Rose can do that. Let's hope Cesaro gets there too. Thank you very much for watching this review. If you have any comments on NXT or any of the NXT talent that were involved on Raw or indeed WrestleMania, please, please, please let me know down in the comment section below any comments you have. Thank you very much for watching this NXT review. I'll be here same time next week. And I know this went on a little bit long, but after what happened at WrestleMania and Raw, I had a lot to get off my chest, quite literally. So thank you very much for watching this review you have, and goodbye.